One's hiding in this cover here, which is just an absolute nightmare. Have I just done all that without filming it? That is a nightmare if I have. Why are they still doing this? Burying the suspension all the way back, or not actually, but putting the windscreen more forward. So you have to take all these covers off, wipers and everything, potentially causing damage, potentially other things to break, just to get to the 3 bolts. Now technically you can get to these 2 bolts quite handy, but this bolt hiding under there's no way of getting to it. These on the other side, basically the same thing. Oh, the joys. Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. We've got a 2015 Ford Courier. This one is, I think, front suspension, and unfortunately it was the only suspension I couldn't get ready-made. I've been doing, I don't know which videos are going to be released first, but I've been doing some videos on my van and other cars where I've got fully made suspension, because especially being mobile, it just makes things a lot bloody handier. You don't need to use the Widowmakers. I didn't really have a set of Widowmakers. I went out and bought these especially for this video, just to show people that, look, on the floor with jacks, very simple tools, you can do this job. Because people always used to say, oh, I don't have all the tools. I do have some very expensive spring compressors, but not everyone's going to have them, so I decided to get the Widowmakers just to show you it is possible. But one thing I will say is, get everything. You know, this only technically needs 2 front shocks. You do one side, always best to do the other side, especially when it's related to suspension work, anything like that. Keep everything nice and even. And but I went and brought everything. I told the customer, look, it's just going to be as easy. The labour is the same, it's just more expensive for the part. If I could have got it ready-made, then it's actually even cheaper on the labour, just slightly more expensive. What I mean by more expensive is, because technically they only need one thing. When you buy the whole thing, it's more expensive that way, but it's a million times better. The only one thing I couldn't get, there's a little rubber that goes here and the spring sits on, and I couldn't get it. So I do have to dismantle the other spring to get that part. It's not too bad. So the tools I use, now you're not going to need all these tools. I use some of them because I was too lazy to go and get other extensions and stuff like that. I'm using air, or I'm using battery power tools. You don't particularly need to. You can use air ones, ratchet ones, whichever ones you've got. A lever bar, a torch, screwdriver, Widowmakers. These are some of the better Widowmakers. They've got 2 hooks on each side rather than 1, but still I don't like them. Some sort of ratchet. This is a 1/2 inch extension. Now again, you may or may not need this. This is a Ford after all. This is the special socket, 18.5mm and 19.5mm, and when them stupid covers come off the wheel nuts, so this comes onto them. 19mm socket, 18mm socket, what's this, 16, 15mm socket as well. I also use this because I was too lazy to get a different size. That's an 18mm short reach socket. 10-11mm spanner. The only reason I use 11mm spanner is to make the 10mm spanner longer. Another extension, that's a 3/8, a hammer, wire brush, another ratchet, extension and 10mm on it. I use this to get the ABS sensor out. 15mm, 13mm ratchet, 13mm spanner, vice grips, and these bad boys, these parrot nose pliers or vice grips for the drop links. Believe me, these things are absolutely awesome. If you get a pair for drop links and they come off instantly, you will love me forever. I am telling you, you're gonna love these things. And then obviously some sort of jack, axle stands, wheel chocks, whatever you want to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this lifted up, get the wheel off, and let the dog see the rabbit. I forgot some sort of breaker bar and a kneeling pad. One's hiding in this cover here, which is just an absolute nightmare. Have I just done all that without filming it? That is a nightmare if I have. Unbelievable. I've just done all that work without pressing record. What a nightmare. All I did with the wire brush, I got all the crap off the threads with the wire brush before I undid them, because what will happen is the gun has the power to overcome the dirt, but what will happen is it will strip the nut or the bolt and it'll cause you lots and lots of problems. So a quick wire brush makes a light of that. Then I used me Power No pliers to get my drop link off, because as you know, anyone that's ever come across to try and get drop links off can be bloody annoying. Yes, you can put Allen keys in there, but the Allen key rounds, it's just annoying. These are thin enough to go in between the drop link and the shock. Absolutely bloody brilliant. And then all I did is just zipped everything off with the airline, or with my battery powered gun. I cannot believe I didn't press record. Fucking dickhead. Then what we also did is taking off the 10mm bolt that holds the brake line on, and now what we're ready to do is the top 3 bolts, which I'm not about to film because you just can't really see. 3 13mm, one here, and one hiding right in behind there, so where you have to take all the covers off. Then that suspension will drop out. Alright, I'll try and get you a bird's eye view. You're on a container at the minute, or a big barrel. Hopefully that's good enough to see what I'm about to do next. Because what I'm about to do next, especially on the new one, is a huge controversy according to all the internet experts out there. I'm going to use a vice grips on the shock on the new one. Obviously this one doesn't matter because this one's damaged, it's failed the test, so it doesn't matter if we destroy this one. Yes, putting vice grips on the shaft like that will damage it 100%. And yes, if you do it in the wrong place and it goes past the seal, it will damage everything. Again, not disputing that. But what you've got to remember is you have a bump stop, right, on a shock. Try and get this out, because I have to get this out, put the new one in, and you'll see why. Right? If you put the vice grips anywhere in between this, you will not do any damage, because it physically can't compress enough for that bump stop to hit the back. If it does, you are in a lot more trouble, believe me, than having a leaking shock. You are going to be upside down somewhere in a ditch, I can guarantee it. So it really doesn't matter. Yes, if you put the vice grips right down at the bottom here, yes, you are going to destroy the shock. But I'm going to move this shock top all the way down, put the vice grips all the way up. You'll see when I do the new one. That way, I can assure you, you will not do any damage whatsoever. But as we all know, the internet experts out there just love to comment. There is special tools you can get to hold the nut and to hold the new shock. I do have them, but again, most people aren't going to have them. So I'm going to show you, you really don't need them. Well, you didn't use them. Oh, I hate these. I do hate these. What I would advise, if you're going to use these Widowmakers, especially the ones with the single hook on them, is you buy 2 sets and use 3. I actually bought 2 sets of these, but these are a fairly weak shock, so they are a fairly weak spring, they're easy to compress, but I personally would be using 3, especially on anything more heavy duty than this. Yeah, like I said, on this one it really doesn't matter, because this shock is bagged. 18mm nut for the top, zip on this, okay, we won't zip off this yet, leave it hanging for a few more seconds. Now I've decided how to do it. Right. Another reason why I got everything new is because on these particular vehicles, this is your dust cover. Now normally your dust cover just sits in there, you know, hanging out, not really doing anything. But this particular dust cover, the actual spring sits on the top, which then goes into your shock top mount here, like that. So you have to actually fit it over like that, look. And then your spring sits there. So with anything like this, it's always good to buy new. You can see the state of this one, look, is just completely and utterly gone. Anyway, not that the dust cover isn't a fail, but if this was all broke, it most of it would be, because this is part of the actual spring housing, so, or the spring mount, should I say. So now that's off, we can release pressure, and we can get to the only bit I need off these shocks. I want to just spin around a bit. I don't mind that. I'm going to keep these springs because they're going to be used on my build. I haven't shown it yet, but I'm halfway through building my paint, well not paint, but my bodywork cart. I called it Frankenstein, so I'm going to use them on that. This is what I need from here. I couldn't get them in time. This guy needs his van back. His retest is very soon, and I just couldn't get them in time. That there, that's what I couldn't get. If I could get that, I wouldn't have had to have dismantled that particular shop. I could have just put my new one back altogether. I'm going to quickly clean this up, just a little bit, and where's my rag? Don't know where my rag is. Just clean up, get ready for the new shock. And I know some people might think, well, hold on a second, this is overkill. Which, yes, maybe a little bit, but the fact that this spring is old, the fact that the shock was completely shot, this spring would have been working a lot harder, and most probably, not 100%, but most probably, well yeah, look, shorter than that one. So this spring, you can see that, look. So, you know, over a period of time, the spring does kind of sink in together, and that would have been put under a lot more pressure, so the chances are that's going to break. Now, it could be another year down the line, but then you have to take everything off again, and it costs you 3 or 4 times more, where if you just replace everything in the beginning, it's so much better for you. Slightly more expensive on parts, but in the long run, a million times better. Now, with this particular suspension, the shocks have a left and a right, so there isn't a left and a right shock. The shock tops are not left and right, they are just normal, so they can fit both ways, swing both ways, you know, modern shock tops and all that. The only thing you do have to be careful of is the little studs that stick out have to line up with the little holes, because it'll sit proud there and it won't work. Well, it will work, but you'll just do damage. So they're universal to both sides, and the spring is universal, but it is not universal in the sense of there is an upside and a downside to it. First thing we need to do is put this back in, so the spring can now sit in there quite nicely. The smaller end of the spring, which happens to be this end, sits on top of here. But what I need to do first is I need to put my shock top down. Now that's a prime example, look at that. That shock top goes there. So as long as I put my vice grips in this here, it physically cannot compress enough. And the spring won't allow it to compress that much anyway. And like I said, if it does manage to compress that much for that shock tops to hit there, you are in more trouble than worrying about your suspension, I can assure you, because you will be upside down somewhere. Right, so we need to sit that in there, like that. So that's good. Now what I need to do is take off a bolt. And I need to compress this spring so I can then put this on top. The trick is to get the spring clamps as high as you possibly can without interfering with the shock top. And sometimes that's easier said than done. That's really going to be it for that side. And then here, can I go higher? No, I can't go. Can I go higher? I don't think I can go that high. It'd be great if I can, but I don't think I can. I think that will interfere. Well, maybe not. Might be alright. Get that around the other sides as best we can. Oh, I hate this. Hands so close. Imminent danger. It's just horrible. Right, just make sure this spring is sitting in the right place, which is there. It is sitting in the right place, but can I now get the shock top on? So hopefully it will go on. No, that part's fitted down. Need the shock top part to fit down. Need it in there. Right. There we go. Make sure they're still in the right place. Chances are the spring is going to spin round. Oh, so in this case it didn't. So what I would normally do now, and I'll just do it just to show you, is get this vice grips, get it in all the way up there, look. So the vice grips is literally right to the top. Down. There we go. Now, what I need to do, well, before I do that, that's now on. I'm going to release the pressure on these spring clamps because I just don't like it. Now what I can do is get that shock top back in all the way up there, like that, slide that over the top, and boom, there we go. We have one shock top. Make sure you can move that because that does need to be moved to line everything up. One spring ready to go in. Sweet. This next bit I'm gonna fug. 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 This next bit I'm gonna struggle to film. What word came out my mouth first? I do not know. What we need to do is we need to try and line up roughly what shape that is there, so we can see that the single hole is more towards the back, so lined up with the bolts that go in here. So I've more or less done that. What I'm going to have to do is with one hand have the shock up there, and with the other hand, when it pokes up through, I'm going to try and screw one of the bolts that are on here. So I'm going to struggle to kind of film it. You're not going to really be able to see what I'm doing as such, but you might be able to. So shove that up there. Have a look where it's more or less in line, which is there. That's in line. Hold it. And the other hand, get as many on as I can. So I can get two on. Oh, come on. Right, that's good. That's handy. It's very handy. Don't worry about if in this particular shock, if this is not lined up, because I can now twist this, see? Not every car you can. The pressure that's on the shock, you physically can't turn it by hand, or if you can, it's very, very difficult. And some of them, like I said, they're angled, so they are a left and a right, and you have to get them basically bob on before you release the tension of the spring. In this particular case, these are kind of the easier ones to do, which you can manipulate afterwards, so not too bloody bored. What we need to do now is get these nuts and bolts in. So let me the camera up here somehow. Where did I have it before? Remember I had it before where I wasn't filming anything like an absolute fucking idiot. Alright, hopefully now you can see. So we just lift up, spin this in the right place, lift that up, still not in the right place. Hold on. Get a little bit closer. Have the bolt ready, so when you lift it up and you can line up the hole, you can pop the bolt in. Now, there we go. The other one in. Boom. What you also need to be careful of when you have the shock out and the brake and the hub part is leaning forwards, be careful because it can pop the drive shaft out, which is obviously a thing you don't want to happen, because then all your gearbox oil comes out and it's just an absolute bloody mess. So I need the 18mm again. This is the bit I forgot to record at the beginning. 15mm spanner. There's a 15mm spanner gone. 15mm spanner here. And right weight. Couple of ugger duggers. Everyone, well not everyone, but all the torque Nazis out there. Oh, you're supposed to torque everything. You're just supposed to. What's the difference? No, I guarantee you, if you was in a garage and you looked up the torque specs for absolutely everything, you wouldn't last in the garage long, because you'd be too slow and you'd be fired. There's a thing called the feel. You know when something is too tight or not. I always tighten everything by hand afterwards. I never let the gun tighten it fully, because there's no feeling with the gun. Obviously, when it comes to things with the engine, you know, head gaskets and stuff like that, yes, you torque. But I now know that that is good. There we go. Don't need to bloody worry. Now, one thing you didn't see in the beginning, which was a shame, and I'm going to show you now, yeah, you can see on camera, was how I get the drop link in and out. So you can see the vice grips that are on it, but I get this big lever bar that, before I do that, make sure the ABS sensor is in the right place. As you can see, it's nowhere near the hole because it's too far up because of the anti-roll bar. So we get this in here and we can push down on the anti-roll bar. Oh, no. Let's get it in this way, might help. Hi. Push down the anti-roll bar to where we need it. And still not enough. Came off so easy. And there we go. Pop it in. pop it in, pop it in, pop it in, there we go, boom. Of course, at an angle now, there we go. Put that on, 16mm, because I've still got my vice grips there. Don't you just love it? Awesome. Oh, just taking these off. Right, so next thing, push that back into there, push that back there. You're not going to be able to see this on the other side, I don't think, but I put the 10mm bolt back that holds the brake line in place. There we go. Job's a good one. That is all done. All torqued to spec. Click, click. And spring is sitting good. That's all sitting good up there. Covers all down. Boom. Sorted. Just the 3 bolts at the top now. Right, I'm going to try and film putting this back in. It can be a bit awkward. I didn't film take it off because I did the other side first. So it's just a couple of nuts and bolts really. Depending how you take it off is the key. So that needs to go under there and on top of there. Can be, like I said, a tiny bit fiddly. So on this side, the way I did it, there's a 10mm bolt here, and there's a 10mm bolt just down there. This is the first cover you have to put on to get the top cover on for your wipers. Wrong way. Go. And on this side I did it slightly different just because of the way it worked out. Stay there, camera. This is not playing ball. Let me get this in properly. I'm going to do this off camera because I'm just about to kind of swear. And believe me, I've left a load of swear words in other videos coming up, so there's plenty of them in there. Right, I think I've got it in better now. So these two I took off from this side, which I actually didn't need to do. It's harder to take these two off than it is just take the single one off, but it's just the way I did it on this side. No biggie, but them two on. Boom. Boom. Where is the other bolt? Bolt to that side. Where is that? What we're done with that? Bagger. That one doesn't go on. Bagger, it does. I gotta put that one on afterwards. That's for the cover. The top cover goes on here. Take the other side off. Right, try and get you back here. Oh, actually, before I put this cover on, this has to go in here. There we go. Now this cover can come on. Put all the clips on here. I know you maybe can't see all of it, but you can see enough. That's what I'm doing. There we go. So turn you back over here now. You can put this bolt in here to hold both of them down. And on this side, this one came off. So you put that back. There we go. Goes here, like that. That's now on. That the other side didn't come off. Before we do that, or after we do that, and we can put all these clips on, because you have to take these clips off as well. Stupid, just to get to the shock top bolts. Anyway, I'm sure you get the idea now. Now all I've got to do, screw these two bolts down at the end, put the wipers on. Right, this is what I absolutely love about YouTube, because obviously you get all the fucking armchair mechanics who think they're brilliant and they haven't done a day's work on cars in their lives. They maybe just read some books or watched some videos and they think they're fucking, like, you know, unbelievable when they're just not. Oh, that's all broke there. Anyway, I was once putting wipers on a car. I was in a video a long time ago, and I was just saying I always put one on, you know, just to check it, because they can touch and break and smash the windscreen and everything. And someone said, did you know, this is not on every single car, but it's on a lot of them. He said, did you know that there is marks on a windscreen to tell you where to place them? I'm like, no mate, I did not know that, but thanks for fucking telling me. I can't remember who it was a long time ago, but thank you. And you can see on this windscreen, hopefully it'll show on the camera, you see that little mark there? Get the camera in the right place. There, see a mark there? And there is one, I saw it, oh here, look, right there, see again? There, see that mark there? So that's telling you where to put the wipers. So, it's so much bloody easier. If I come across with this wiper, right? Put that wiper in on there, and you think, oh, where do I put it? Come across, you see the line there, and I go, boom! Look at that, it's in the right place. Now this one's not too bad because you've got the grime of the road and crap on it to see anyway, but you don't always have that. So I now know that is in the right place, and we can put the wiper on. How awesome is that? Lovely jubbly. I'm gonna do that with the other one. Right, we are all done. Let's test the wipers just in case they blow up, so we can clickbait the video. You know, because I'll have to pay for a windscreen, so if I clickbait the video, you get millions of pounds, and I won't clickbait the video. You ready? Ready? Eee! Lovely jubbly. So there you go. As you can see, with simple tools, yes, I maybe use some specialist tools, you know, tools that you might not have, but you can still do it with hand ratchets and stuff. The tools I use just make the job easier. We did it on the floor with some jack, basically hand tools. So there you go. So as always, hope it helped. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below, but most important, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.